The following is a production of Learfield Sports.
Welcome to Spartan Sports Central. I'm Justin Allegri. No game to recap this week. The Spartans are 1-1 coming off of their first bye of the 2014 season. But we will look into the Vermeil Walsh Athletic Complex and hear from San Jose State Athletic Director Gene Blameyer about the progress of this complex. The Vermeil Walsh Athletic Complex is a 60,000 square foot building to be located in the north end zone of Spartan Stadium. Athletic Director Gene Blameyer describes the use of the facility and the need for an update.
The football complex is a major component of this facility, and it'll comprise all of the coaching offices, football locker room, a training room, and an equipment room for all of our sports. And will be also some premier seating in the north end zone of Spartan Stadium. Our facilities are woefully inadequate for what we're trying to do in the Mountain West Conference, and this would bring us up to the norm. This would help tremendously in recruiting and help just our coaches have the meeting room space that they need to conduct business.
One name on the building, former Super Bowl champion winning coach and SJSU alumni Dick Vermeil, is excited about the initiative Blameyer is taking.
He's out, I'm prejudiced. He played for me on my first UCLA football team. He's a bright guy. He's a great human being. He has great integrity. I know what he's done because I've seen him do it at Boise. I know what he can do. And if he can do that at Boise, he can do more in San Jose if we can get the financial support. We've got to quit talking about what we're going to do there and do it. To me, it's a tremendous honor. First, to be up there with Bill Walsh, because that's how highly I respect and esteem I hold him in, way beyond. And then to put my name on that along his and then on a building that'll be there forever, it's a real honor, a real honor.
Blameyer knows it is a long process, but he is optimistic about the progress of the facility.
Well, we've got all the planning done, and the drawings are being completed now. What we need to do, though, is to finish the fundraising. It's a $40 million project, 60,000 square feet, and we're in the middle of the fundraising phase. So as soon as we can get to a point of security and knowing that we'll be able to raise the entire amount and come up with a financing plan, then we'll break ground. We're still a little bit a ways from that, but we're working very, very hard to secure the commitments that we need to make this a reality.
This is all part of a grander scheme in the South Campus.
Absolutely. This is project number one in what will probably be 15 or 20 projects to completely rebuild and redevelop the 63 acres that we have down here at the South Campus.
Vermeil knows the value of a project like this and what it will do for San Jose State University.
I just think it's way overdue. I think it'll make a difference. I think it could take San Jose State and propel it and beyond the rest of the state colleges within California. Why not? I think it's the best school. Why not? It's in the best location. It's there, and we need it badly. But it'll be a difference maker. It will make a difference.
For Spartan Sports Central, I'm Justin Allegri. We'll take our first break here on Spartan Sports Central. When we come back, Jimmy Durkin from the Bay Area News Group and San Jose Mercury News will be in studio to talk the season so far. More on Spartan Sports Central when we come back.
At the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, you'll discover what happens when we cut corners. The corners of test tracks, where we engineered our most track-tested line of performance vehicles ever. The result, our gold standard of performance. And the only place you'll find it is at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2014 GS350 for $409 a month for 24 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
I'm starving. Where's the food?
Who's hungry?
Una mas. No way.
Every party can use Una mas. Fresh from the market ingredients is the essence of great tasting Mexican food. We grill our chicken and steak to perfection, and our fusion of traditional Mexican dishes means delicious, healthy choices for you. Una mas. We taste better.
We should invite her again.
With millions of businesses all in one place, the YP app can help you do pretty much anything. But can it get you to the moon? You'll need a space helmet. YP can do that. You'll need the highest rated hardware stores. Check. YP even has a cheap gas finder, which is perfect for longer trips. The even more powerful, so much more than a search engine Yellow Pages. YP can do that.
Welcome back on Spartan Sports Central. Now joined by Jimmy Durkin of the San Jose Mercury News. And Jimmy, you cover this team a lot. You see them a lot at practice, see them a lot on the field. I just want to get you in studio for the first time this year and talk about the progression of this team. First and foremost, can you really judge what this team has done over the course of the first two games when you have an FCS team and then you go down to SEC country, you play a top 5 team in Auburn? Can you judge the outcome or what this team looks like from two contrasting games like that?
Not a ton. I mean, we all knew coming in 2 games they were probably going to be 1-1. Mm-hmm. You know, I think the North Dakota game was encouraging because they played better than they did last year when they opened against an FCS team. You know, the tackling, the offense efficiency, all of that. You know, and then game 2, you know, it was a blowout, kind of as expected. Blake George probably played a little bit better than I think we might have expected, even though he had a couple of turnovers there. But, you know, he was still fairly efficient, made a couple of plays. So I don't think there's a ton you can gather. I think that's where the season is at now, is because these are the games, Minnesota, Nevada, UNLV. This is the stretch where we start learning about this team because these are the games that they can win, they can lose, and we start seeing, is this team going to be fighting for a conference title? Are they going to be fighting for bowl eligibility? Or are they going to be, you know, out of the picture and you know, out of the bowl picture? So I think the next couple of games are where we really start to learn about the team.
Well, and kind of talking about identity last year, we didn't really learn about the identity of the team until, the Hawaii game. Yeah. So I think you're right in that Minnesota coming up is going to tell us a lot about this team. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good barometer because last year, the offense was explosive and had a great first half against Minnesota. You know, it looked like they were going to have a shot to win, but the defense just collapsed. They couldn't tackle. I mean, they were getting dragged 5 yards beyond. I mean, they were trying to tackle a guy and getting pushed 5-6 yards beyond. And so this is a chance to show. We all think the defense has improved. You know, they brought in Greg Robinson at coordinator. They've moved back to the 4-3. We think they've improved, but we really don't know how much they've improved. This is a very good barometer, assuming Mitch Leidner's healthy and they're going to go up against the same quarterback, the same running back, a lot of the same guys. We can tell a little bit more after this game how much has this defense gotten better.
Well, two of the big questions coming into this season, too, and maybe you can expand on it, were quarterback position, offensive line. So far, what has been your assessment of Blake George, just from your perspective, watching him every game, watching him on practice? How has he handled the offense, and how has the offensive line, with the new guys, handled their role in protecting him?
Well, I think Blake has done a lot better than the expectations were coming out of spring. I mean, he didn't look very good in spring, and you know, I think anybody coming out of spring that if they thought that he was going to be the starting quarterback would have been very concerned. You know, his fall camp was a lot better than he was in spring. He rightfully earned the job. I mean, he wasn't given the job by any means. I mean, Joe Gray looked like the favorite coming out of spring, and Blake went out and won it. And, I think through 2 games, he's done nothing to lose the job. He played very well in the opener, played reasonably well against Auburn. So, I think he's looked like a serviceable quarterback. He's looked like a guy that can go out there and can beat the team San Jose State should beat. Is he going to go out and pull off upsets against Auburn? No, but David Fales isn't going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think he's looked like a quarterback that can guide this team for this year, and I don't think he'll significantly hurt their chances of winning games. And there are teams where he can go out there and he can hurt them with his arm, with his legs, and so he's done pretty well. And as for the offensive line, they're young, they're coming together. But I think they're doing fairly well. I would have liked to have seen a better running attack against North Dakota. They're not going to run the ball or do much against Auburn, but
sure.
They protected him, reasonably well at times, and especially protected him well against North Dakota. So this is another big test, a physical Minnesota team that's obviously physical, but not nearly to the extent of Auburn. So this is a good matchup for them to show what they can do.
Well, you also talk about the run game and what the Spartans can put together. You get Jared Lawson back this week. Thomas Tucker will be back this week. And it's something that Coach Caragher mentioned is it's just a different style of offense that they can throw at Minnesota because they didn't have that established run game last year, and they haven't seen Lawson or Tucker or Hefo, for that matter, who got a lot of carries at Auburn this past week.
Yeah, and then also toss in Brandon Monroe. I mean, they've got 4 guys, and really when you look at Monroe, Hefo, and Lawson, those are 3 very physical runners. And then you've got Tucker, who is more physical than you would expect, sure, but is also a very fast, elusive guy out of the backfield. So I think the running game, should have a lot more dynamic to it. I think I was a little bit disappointed that against North Dakota they didn't have a high yards per carry, because that's a team you thought you should have been able to run the ball really well against. So I think we do still need to see a little bit more out of the running game before we can get too excited about them. But they've got 4 backs there that are really can be pretty good backs. Obviously, Blake Jurich brings some running to the offense as well, and Tyler Irvin, we've seen he's a guy that they're going to try to get the ball in open space against teams, and whether that's catching the ball like he did against Auburn, and he's going to get the ball on sweeps and reverses and that kind of stuff. So he really is still kind of part of the running game, even though he's now switched to wide receiver.
All right, here are 2 more fun questions here. Last year we saw Tyler Winston make his debut against Minnesota. We saw Jared Lawson come in later in the season. This is the time of year where you're going to get a player come out of nowhere, it seems, and start to make an impact. Who is a player that you've kind of been watching that really hasn't done too much on the field yet, but you may expect to burst onto the scene here pretty soon?
Well, one guy we've seen burst onto the scene previous years is Jabari Carr, who hasn't done much this year. He's been dealing with a little bit of a groin injury, and we saw him come into the 4th quarter against Auburn and make 2 pretty impressive catches.
Good catches.
He looked like the receiver that we've known, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he went and had a big game Saturday and reasserts himself as a big part of the offense. And then the other guy I'm still keeping a track on. I think it may take an injury or 2 before they activate him, but it's Justin Holmes. I mean, he may be one of the most talented receivers on the roster. I think the hope, like it was with Winston last year, is to redshirt him, but I still look at him as a guy that's almost too talented to keep on the bench. But it looks like that's kind of the plan for now. But if an injury or 2 happened, he's a guy that he could make an impact at some point this year, but if not, next year, I think he's going to be a very impactful player.
And on the other side of that question, what are the concerns for this team so far? And the major concerns, I guess, you have to look at 2 different games, only 2 games, there's your sample size, but are there concerns for this team moving forward, especially heading into a game on the road and then going into Mountain West play?
I think you would like to see maybe a little bit more of a pass rush. They didn't really get to the quarterback a ton against North Dakota, and I think that was something we saw last year. There wasn't much of a pass rush at all after being so good in 2012, and you understand there not being much of a pass rush against Auburn, but against North Dakota you would have liked to see a little bit more. So I think getting after the quarterback, maybe forcing a few more turnovers, that would be big. And the other little bit of a concern is the special teams. Austin Lopez surprisingly has missed a couple short field goals. The punting was not good at all against Auburn, and there's been some struggles in kick coverage. So I think shoring up the special teams. The return game, there wasn't really much return game against Auburn because they didn't really force many punts.
It's tough to do that.
But we obviously saw a great return game against North Dakota. But so that part's been good. But the kicking game has been a little bit inconsistent, in terms of kick coverage. A couple missed field goals, some bad punts. So I think we do need to see the special teams shore up a little bit.
All right, that's Jimmy Durkin of the Bay Area News Group and San Jose Mercury News. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, Justin.
We'll have head coach Ron Caragher in the studio when we come back. You're watching Spartan Sports Central.
I'm starving. Where's the food?
Who's hungry?
Una mas! No way.
Every party can use una mas. Fresh from the market ingredients is the essence of great tasting Mexican food. We grill our chicken and steak to perfection, and our fusion of traditional Mexican dishes means delicious, healthy choices for you. Una mas. We taste better.
We should invite her again.
With millions of businesses all in one place, the YP app can help you do pretty much anything. But can it get you to the moon? You'll need a space helmet. YP can do that. You'll need the highest rated hardware stores. Check. YP even has a cheap gas finder, which is perfect for longer trips. The even more powerful, so much more than a search engine Yellow Pages. YP can do that.
At the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, you'll discover what happens when we cut corners. The corners of test tracks, where we engineered our most track-tested line of performance vehicles ever. The result, our gold standard of performance. And the only place you'll find it is at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2014 GS350 for $409 a month for 24 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
Welcome back on Spartan Sports Central. Now joined by San Jose State head coach Ron Caragher. And Coach, I guess first bye is always something to learn from, something to go over. What did you guys focus on in the bye? And it's an early bye, so is that something different?
It is an early bye, and we did have it a year ago this early in the season, and it can be challenging, but we'll use it to our advantage. Opportunity for some guys to heal up from some injuries and dings that we had coming out of the Auburn game, but also a chance to continue to grow as a football team. It's still early in the season. We've got a lot of room for improvement. I think every week you want to get better, bye or not. And we wanted to get better. So we had some really good practices last week. It can be challenging to motivate a team to practice when you don't have a game on Saturday. But the guys did a good job, and they had 2 days off, and they came back out on Sunday. And we simulated a game in a lot of ways. We did the ones versus ones. We did up-tempo, long play drives that were really planned out where the defense had and the offense had to stay on the field for 12-plus play drives. It's really a fatigue factor. But all in all, it was a good improvement week, and now we're in the game week and ready to take that next step in our preparation. One question mark for Minnesota. Mitch Leidner was very, very good, especially against the Spartans last year, running the ball effectively. I think he had 4 touchdowns on the ground. He's kind of a question mark this week, isn't he? He banged himself up a little bit, and also their running back, David Cobb, may be a question mark too. So first of all, talk about those two players and how to prep for them, and maybe not seeing them 100%. Sure, both those guys, we saw them both last year. They're very good football players, and thus far have been 2 of their offensive leaders. We have to prepare for them. Not knowing who will be in there at those positions, whether them or their backups, but our guys understand that, and I really think a lot of the focus and preparation is on yourself. You're focusing on doing your job to the best of your ability and to fine-tune and improve in that way. And then who they're going to put their best players out there, and we're not sure exactly who it'll be, but I know this, they have very capable backups. Those guys are excellent football players. They have capable backups, proven to have played and succeeded in football games. Well, there was only 3 players that received a pass against San Jose State from Minnesota last year, so they are a very run-oriented style of offense. Talk about the offense and what they can do with
a running style quarterback and a complement of running back position.
Sure, and it goes hand in hand with their personnel. They're big physical football teams. They have their front offensive line is 310 plus. I mean, they're big guys and big frames, and they like to run the football. Sure. They can move people well, and we experienced that last year, unfortunately, and so we need to improve in that. But they're physical. They want to be able to run the ball, but they also have the ability to spread people out and run as well, or throw the ball from those formations. So we have to be ready for a multitude of formations and different philosophies from a defensive standpoint, defending their offense.
Now, there are names and players from that team that you guys saw last year that you used to. There are also some names and players from Spartan's team that they saw last year. However, they didn't see Jared Lawson. They didn't see Thomas Tucker. Tyler Winston didn't even catch a pass. He did play in that game. Does it seem like this team, although it was established last year, is not a team that Minnesota saw last year?
Right. That's a very good point. We were very liquid, if you will, football team. We constantly changed who we were, and some of that was by choice, some of it was not by choice with injuries and whatnot. But you're right, you named a few guys there that really evolved last year following the Minnesota game. I think the Utah State or the Hawaii game really is where you started to see some of those young names, those freshmen, and had a nice successful streak after that. So I think I'm excited. I think we're pretty clear on who we are. We don't have a lot of injuries coming off. It'd be nice to hit our rhythm, hit our stride, have some consistency, and be able to execute clicking on all cylinders.
Talk about them a little bit defensively. From what I remember last year, they were very good at pass rushing. They got to the quarterback real quick, and their defensive backs sometimes made some mistakes, and I think that's where it was exploited from San Jose State last year. A lot of those guys are returning this year.
Right.
Talk about their defense and maybe some improvements they made over the course of last year.
Yeah, well, they like to put a good pass rush on the quarterback, put him under pressure, and they did a good job getting to David. We countered that with being able to get rid of the ball in a timely manner to not keep him back there in a long time. And they do, on the back end, they do a good job. They're a veteran group. Their linebacker, I say their back seven, their linebackers and their four defensive backs do a good job in coverage standpoint, but really they like to put pressure with their front four. They're physical, they're strong, they're good, they're athletic, and I think that's what their defense is about. All the while they're sound on the back end. They don't necessarily roll the dice with man-to-man coverage to bring a lot of heat on the quarterback because they feel confident in their four down guys being able to put pressure.
Now, how does that scheme maybe change from what you saw with David Fales, who just threw the ball in the air a bunch last year? When you have a Jared Lawson coming back for his first game, Thomas Tucker now probably healthy for this game, when you have an established run game, how does that change the scenario?
Yeah, well, I think we always strive to be balanced, and the perfect world will be able to run the football and throw the ball. And I think sometimes as games go on, you have to take what they give you and see where they're defending. Are they trying to stop the run at all costs, you know, and allowing you to throw the football? Or do they want to not give up the big play, and can you run the football on them? And so I think it's always changing. But I'm encouraged. I think going in, we're healthy. We've got a good group of guys. I feel like we're a balanced offense. We've thrown the ball well, and we've also ran the ball. And we need that, so the defense has to defend us, you know, the full width of the field, and they can't hone in on one particular area because we're good at both.
All right, that's San Jose State head coach Ron Caragher preparing for the Minnesota game. Thanks as always, Coach.
Thank you, Justin.
More on Spartan Sports Central when we come back.
I'm starving. Where's the food?
Who's hungry?
Una mas! No way.
Every party can use una mas. Fresh from the market ingredients is the essence of great tasting Mexican food. We grill our chicken and steak to perfection, and our fusion of traditional Mexican dishes means delicious, healthy choices for you. Una mas. We taste better.
We should invite her again.
At the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, you'll discover what happens when we cut corners. The corners of test tracks, where we engineered our most track-tested line of performance vehicles ever. The result, our gold standard of performance. And the only place you'll find it is at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2014 GS350 for $409 a month for 24 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
With millions of businesses all in one place, the YP app can help you do pretty much anything. But can it get you to the moon? You'll need a space helmet. YP can do that. You'll need the highest rated hardware stores. Check. YP even has a cheap gas finder, which is perfect for longer trips. The even more powerful, so much more than a search engine Yellow Pages. YP can do that.
The Learfield Sports Directors Cup honors the nation's best overall collegiate athletic program in each division, men's and women's sports. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook. Find us in USA Today, online, and on Twitter at LS Directors Cup. Over 2 decades of excellence, the Learfield Sports Directors Cup.
Welcome back on Spartan Sports Central. There were various teams inside of San Jose State Athletics in action over the weekend and last week. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights and scores from last week's play.
The San Jose State volleyball team took Sacramento State to 5 sets Friday night at the Cal Poly Shares Slow Tournament. The Spartans started the match strong, winning the first set 25-23, then had to rally in the 4th set to send it to a decisive 5th, but the Hornets held on, winning 3-2. The team then played 2 matches in the tournament on Saturday. The first was a loss to host Cal Poly 3-0. The team had just 17 kills over 3 sets. San Jose State did outblock the Mustangs 10-7, including 4 solo blocks. Sarah Hibbs again led the team with 5 blocks, 1 solo, and 4 assists. In the team's final match of the tournament, 2 Spartans recorded double-digit kills, while Allison Meehan had 32 assists, 5 digs, and 2 blocks, 1 solo, and 1 assist. Hibbs again led the team in blocks with 3, however they did fall 3-1. The San Jose State men's soccer team traveled to Sacramento to take on the Hornets. San Jose State tied the match at 1-1 with the Hornets in the 55th minute, but allowed a goal just 4 minutes later and fell 2-1. Freshman Greg Hart got the goal for the Spartans, diving and heading the ball in at 54-49 in the game. Spartans outshot the Hornets 14-8, including 10-4 in the second half, but ultimately fell. San Jose State's women's soccer team played to a 0-0 draw Friday night at UCSB. Santa Barbara outshot San Jose 14-1, but junior goalkeeper Zoe Macrianis refused to let one slip by her as she recorded a match-high 5 saves. The Spartans women's soccer team also played to a 1-1 draw on Sunday at USF. With regulation nearing a close, San Jose State's junior Gabriella Stang erased the 1-goal deficit in the 72nd minute. USF outshot San Jose 5-0 in extra time, but the Spartans held defensively, leaving San Francisco with a 1-1 draw.
We'll take our final break here on Spartan Sports Central. More on the show when we come back.
With millions of businesses all in one place, the YP app can help you do pretty much anything. But can it get you to the moon? You'll need a space helmet. YP can do that. You'll need the highest rated hardware stores. Check. YP even has a cheap gas finder, which is perfect for longer trips. The even more powerful, so much more than a search engine Yellow Pages. YP can do that.
The Learfield Sports Directors Cup honors the nation's best overall collegiate athletic program in each division, men's and women's sports. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook. Find us in USA Today, online, and on Twitter at LS Directors Cup. Over 2 decades of excellence, the Learfield Sports Directors Cup.
At the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, you'll discover what happens when we cut corners. The corners of test tracks, where we engineered our most track-tested line of performance vehicles ever. The result, our gold standard of performance. And the only place you'll find it is at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2014 GS350 for $409 a month for 24 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
Welcome back on Spartan Sports Central. That does it for this week's episode. Once again, the San Jose State football team heads to Minnesota to take on the Golden Gophers. That is a 3:01 Central kickoff time, 1:01 Pacific. Pre-game show on 1590 AM KLIV, and the Spartan Radio Network will begin at 12:30. Thanks for watching this week. We'll see you next time.